These are the most powerful, dangerous, and brutal cars ever built. The Rally Group B. Forget the Formula One. Forget the 24 hours of Le Mans. Forget the NASCAR. These are the best rally cars ever.
Everybody knows that the dice are loaded. Everybody rolls with...
It's true that the Formula One are the most fastest car in the planet, or the 24 hours of Le Mans is a race that you need to compete for complete one day. But the Group B were cars with more than 600 horsepower, racing in very narrow streets, over tracks with dirty snow, even ice. And to drive these monsters, it needed to have the best pilots and co-pilots in all the world. To understand how difficult it was to drive one of these cars, we need to understand what was the function of a pilot and a function of a co-pilot. This last is extremely important in the race. The job of a pilot it was drive a race car to the limit, with no mistakes. In the 80s where the security was low, only a helmet, belt, and go to race. It needed to be crazy to drive those impossible cars. And in the other hand we have the co-pilots. Much people think that the co-pilot in rallies only serves to take the time and see if everything is okay with the car. The truth is that the co-pilot do an important job. To sing the notes means that they need to say to the pilot certain codes so the pilot can imagine the circuit in his head.
Easy left maybe, 20, easy right over brow 50, brow, and flat left 50.
The Lancia Stratos is for me the first car produced for exclusively rallies. It was a car very claustrophobic and very beautiful for me. It has a Ferrari V6 engine and it was shorter than other rally cars. That brought victories and a car very fast in all the ways. The Group B was rally with no restrictions on the engine, no restrictions with the security, and that brought cars extremely difficult to drive. One of the most iconic cars was the Audi Quattro. The Audi Quattro in my opinion was the most difficult car to drive in the Group B. More than 600 horsepower, no electronic assistance, only the best pilots could drive this monster. Not all the pilots were men. One of them was Michèle Mouton. She was an icon of the Group B. She was runner-up in 1982 with this car, the Audi Quattro. In an interview that she asked her how it was drive the Audi Quattro, and she answered, "The car have much power that I pass the curves that how I can. I speed up and do exactly one more time." We can say that it was only for authentic pilots. The rally brands want to win with the street derived cars, so the general person want to buy these cars. For example, this Renault 5 Turbo it was only for the street, and this other one it was exclusive for rallies. This is other example. This is the Lancia Delta Integrale for the streets, and this is the Lancia Delta Integrale for the rally. All the rally cars have turbo, and the majority had four-wheel drive, but there was an exception, and it was the Lancia 037. It was a mistake part of Lancia, but a happy mistake. Why a happy mistake? It was because it burned the Lancia 037, one of my favorite cars in Group B. It was a very difficult car, but it didn't have four-wheel drive. It means that it didn't have traction in all the wheels like the Audi Quattro or older cars. That gave bad results in dirty and snow. giving many victories to the Audi Quattro. That made a change by Walter Röhrl from Lancia to Audi. And finally, the Ford RS 200. This car entered to the rally a little late than the others. In the 1984, the RS 200 has a 4-inline engine that produced 250 horsepower with a weight of 1,180 kilograms. This was a car very quick and compact, but it didn't become famous because his numbers. It was something worse. But the consequence of driving difficult cars came. At the Portugal rally happened something shocking. The pilot Joaquim Santos with the Ford RS 200 lost the control and crashed with 30 persons, where 10 people were injured and 1 person died. This accident was considered one of the most brutal in the history of the racing, so the FIA decided to close the Group B. In the 1986, when the Group B started, many people knew that this rally it will be temporal, but not for a couple of years. Actually, other many cars were produced for Group B, but for other sequences it didn't appear, like the Ferrari 288 GTO. This car is a car that I love, but the car only was produced for the streets, not for rally. After the Group B was closed, the FIA opened a new rally. This time was the Group A. Yes, very original with the name. This Group A was more focused to the security of the pilots. The FIA put a lot of restrictions in the security and the engine and specific horsepower. Of course that I love that rally. And also there were iconic cars like the Ford Escort or the Subaru STI, but it wasn't the same. This was similar to the expression, "The king is dead, long life to the king." Definitely the rally will never be again like the Group B, not only of the engines and the cars, the pilots that were in that era. Only watching the videos I can imagine how was drive those cars in all the different ways. The rally today we have the WRC, it means World Rally Championship. These restrictions are like a joke, only one engine for all the cars. Literally you can move a screw because if not the FIA cancel you. That doesn't mean I don't like it, but we don't have much competitive with the cars like in the past. And yes, it exists the Group A like I just mentioned, the Group C, the Group N, the Group S and other more subgroups. And to be honest, I can't tell all of them because I don't know much of the groups and subgroups. There are much of them. If I need to get one of the Group B, I will choose the Audi Quattro. It's a car that when entered to the rally was like a problem to the other brands, and it was a car that have much of history, the pilots that they drove it and the power that it have the car. Also, we need to say that all the cars didn't have ABS. It means that you can brake in the middle of the curve. If you did it, you go outside of the way. You need to brake before the curve. This is what happened in the accident in Portugal with the Ford RS 200. I hope you have learned a little more about this amazing era of rally. Thank you for watching the video. My name is Omar Eleazar Hernandez Vargas, and this was the history of the Group B in a video. Thank you.
Everybody knows that the dice are loaded. Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows the war is over. Everybody knows the good guys lost. Everybody knows the fight was fair. The poor stay poor, the rich get rich. That's how it goes.